Welcome to SpaceWire. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. The sun rose over endless fields of American corn, but by noon on August 11, 2025, that symbol was in jeopardy. News broke. U.S. corn exports were blocked, ships were turned away, and the world's supply chain was thrown into chaos. President Trump, back in the White House, erupted in outrage, calling it a direct attack on America. The U.S., the world's top corn exporter, suddenly found its lifeblood cut off. Commodity markets panicked, prices swung wildly, farmers faced ruin. Trump's response was immediate fiery social media posts, emergency meetings, and vows of retaliation. The crisis was no longer just about corn, it was about national pride and power. As America reeled, Canada watched quietly. With U.S. corn off the table, a billion-dollar void opened in the global market. Canada, long a secondary player, saw its chance. The stage was set for a dramatic shift in agricultural power. The world's longest undefended border was about to become the front line in a new trade war. The fate of North American farming hung in the balance. Corn isn't just a crop in America, it's the backbone of the rural economy. Over 90 million acres are planted each year, much of it destined for export. These exports are worth tens of billions, supporting farmers, truckers, and port workers nationwide. Without exports, a glut would crash prices, devastating rural communities. The entire supply chain, from seed to ship, relies on global buyers. American corn is also a tool of influence, a symbol of reliability in the world food system. For decades, nations built their food security on the promise of U.S. corn. When the ships stopped, it wasn't just money lost, it was trust. America's reputation as the world's most dependable supplier was shattered. Others were ready to fill the void. The crisis wasn't sparked by politics, but by a microbe. European scientists claimed to find a new, aggressive strain, Zea vastator, in U.S. corn shipments. Harmless to humans, but a threat to crops, it was resistant to fungicides and could linger in soil for years. Panic spread. Japan, South Korea, and Mexico suspended U.S. corn imports overnight. Demands for proof and safety guarantees poured in. Ports slammed shut. The global market, built on trust, was paralyzed by fear. The U.S. insisted its corn was safe, but the world wasn't waiting. The burden of proof was on America, and every day lost meant millions in damages. News media fueled the panic, showing images of contaminated corn and pristine foreign fields. Whether the threat was real or not, U.S. corn was guilty until proven innocent. The global trade system was brought to its knees, not by war, but by a microbe. The U.S. faced an uphill battle to clear its name. The world had already moved on. President Trump's response was swift and explosive. He called the microbe story a witch hunt and a global conspiracy against American farmers. Social media lit up with his outrage. "We have the cleanest corn in the world. Sad." At a fiery press conference, he threatened tariffs on foreign goods, escalating the crisis. Behind the scenes, chaos reigned. Advisors urged diplomacy, but Trump demanded loyalty and confrontation. His base rallied, seeing him as their champion. But many farmers worried his tactics would only deepen the crisis. The nation was divided. Some wanted a fight, others a solution. Trading partners grew wary, and diplomatic ties frayed. The world watched as America turned inward. Pride wounded, markets closed. The corn crisis had become a test of leadership and national resolve. The stakes were no longer just economic, they were existential. America's next move would shape its future on the world stage. While the U.S. floundered, Canada seized the moment. Canadian officials reassured global buyers their corn was clean, their supply reliable. Major importers like Japan and Mexico quickly signed record-breaking deals with Canadian suppliers. Grain elevators and ports in Ontario and Quebec ran non-stop, shipping corn to new markets. Years of investment in seeds and infrastructure paid off overnight. Canada transformed from a secondary player to a dominant force in global corn exports. The Great Canadian Corn Coup was underway. Billion-dollar contracts shifted north, redrawing the map of North American agriculture. The maple leaf became a symbol of reliability and success. Canada's quiet strategy had changed the game. The crisis hit hardest in the fields. In Iowa, farmer David Miller watched his best-ever crop rot in silos, prices in freefall. Loans loomed, futures crumbled, and hope faded as political battles raged on TV. Communities fractured under the strain. Some blamed government, others foreign rivals, but all felt helpless. Just across the border, Ontario's Chloe Dubois thrived. Demand for Canadian corn soared, prices hit record highs. Chloe paid off debts, expanded her farm, and planned for a secure future. Her community buzzed with optimism. Local businesses boomed, young people returned to farming. Canadian farmers, once in America's shadow, now led the global market. The border became a stark economic divide. For some, the crisis was ruin. For others, a once-in-a-generation windfall. The fate of two nations' farmers had flipped overnight. The harvest told a tale of loss and opportunity. The corn crisis of 2025 changed North American agriculture forever. Even if U.S. exports resume, trust is broken and buyers have moved on. America's era of dominance is over. Diversification and resilience are now the new priorities. Farmers may shift to new crops, local markets, and value-added products. The risks of relying on a single export have been laid bare. Canada, now a global leader, faces new pressures to meet demand and manage growth responsibly. Investment and innovation will shape its future. The border is no longer just a line, it's an economic fault line. A microbe and a political storm redrew the map of global trade. The future belongs to those who adapt. The seeds of tomorrow's harvest are being planted today.